जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन। यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन। यमुनातीरावनचारी। यमुनातीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी। राधा माधव जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतः पदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमपदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. We are reading from Shrimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 10. Dhruv Maharaj fights with the Yakshas. Today we have text 10 to 13. How do? We chant all the verses or? Okay. So I'll read the translations of the first few and then we'll go to the 13th verse which we'll recite. So the first translation is 10th verse. Just like serpents who cannot tolerate being trampled upon by anyone's feet, the Yakshas, being intolerant of the wonderful prowess of Dhruv Maharaj, threw twice as many arrows, 6 from each of their soldiers, and thus they were very valiantly exhibited their prowess. The Yaksha soldiers were 130,000 strong, all greatly angry and all desiring to defeat the wonderful activities of Dhruv Maharaj. With full strength they showered upon Maharaj Dhruva, along with his chariot and charioteer, various types of feathered arrows, parigas, iron bludgeons, nitrimshas, swords, pra- prashashulas, tridents, uh, parashoddas, lances, shaktis, pikes, rishtis, spears, and bushundi weapons. So now comes the verse we will discuss today. And text 13. Kindly repeat after me. Otanapaditsa tada shastravarshena bhurina na eva drishya tachanna ash ash asarena yatha giri Otanapaditsa tada shastravarshena bhurina न एवादृश्यता छन्ना आसारेण यथा गिरिः औतानपादीत् स तदा शस्त्रवर्षेण भूरिना न एवादृश्यता छन्ना आसारेण यथा गिरिः. शस्त्रवर्षेण भूरिना आसारेण. Word to word translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Autanapadi, Autanapadi, Dhruv Maharaj. Saha, he. Tada, at that time. Shastravarshena, by a shower of weapons. Bhurina, incessant. Na, not. Eva, certainly. Adrishyata, was visible. Achannaha, being covered. Asarena, by constant rainfall. Yatha, as Giri, a mountain. Translation: Dhruv Maharaj was completely covered by an incessant shower of weapons, just as a mountain is covered by incessant rainfall. Purport: Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur points out in this connection that although Dhruv Maharaj was covered by the incessant arrows of the enemy, this does not mean that he succumbed in the battle. The example of a mountain peaks being covered by incessant rain is just suitable. For when a mountain is covered by incessant rain, all dirty things are washed from the body of the mountain. Similarly, the incessant shower of arrows from the enemy gave Dhruv Maharaj new vigor to defeat them. In other words, whatever incompetency he might have had was washed away. So I seek the blessings of all the Vaishnavas assembled to share something based on the teachings of Srila Prabhupada and all the great souls that I have heard, something um, for my own purification, for the pleasure of the Vaishnavas and the deity Shri Radha Govindji. So this is a very beautiful section of Srimad Bhagavatam where Dhruv Maharaj is fighting with the Yakshas because his brother was killed by the Yakshas and he felt that he should uh, he became little atirosh, overly angry, and he wanted to finish the Yakshas. And at that time, this war is going on, and in the war, how Dhruv Maharaj first very valiantly shot 3 arrows to for every Yaksha soldier, 3 arrows, and they were 1,30,000 or 130,000 in the American way of saying it. 130,000 soldiers were there. So 3 into 130,000, 390,000 arrows in one shot. You know? And they shot back double the arrows. So 80,000 arrows on one personality. Of course, Dhruv Maharaj must be also having some army, but he was covered by arrows. It's compared to the rains covering a mountain. And then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is, as Prabhupada is building here, that did not defeat him, rather just made him more vigorous to fight. So this is a Kshatriya spirit. Kshatriya does not feel, when he gets an injury, he feels more energetic to fight back. You know. In fact, they have a war call also in the beginning of the war. They say, if you have guts, come and fight. Then the other guy will say that real brave people don't talk, they really fight. Don't speak, do the need. So they build up the Kshatriya vigor between themselves. The verse before is talking that although the Yakshas are getting good injuries also, but at the same time they are appreciating the power of Dhruv Maharaj. So Kshatriya spirit was it was a sportive spirit of fighting, as Prabhupada writes in the previous purport. And here Dhruv Maharaj is also not dissuaded by the power that the Yakshas are showing. So this is a very important thing where in the modern administrative structure, the person who is the administrator, he sits back in the political program and some soldiers go and fight. But actually in the Vedic culture, the Kshatriyas were the rulers and they would take the first arrows on their chest. The king would be not like, soldiers, you go and fight, I am here, I'm just sitting and going to clap for you. I will take the battle ahead. So, in fact, not only that, he cannot be called a Kshatriya if he runs away from the battle. Yuddha chapi apalayanam. He cannot run back from a war. So, if some Kshatriya would come back from the war without being victorious, the queen will not let him enter also. Because this guy has come after losing the war. Either he should have died or he should have won. Like that. So, true Kshatriya spirit was very high in terms of taking the battle ahead. And even if there is some injury would only bring more eagerness to fight back. So, uh, this spirit of Kshatriya, of course, in the context of our personal lives, many of us are not into any roles where we may fight wars, but we can appreciate it from the global structure of the world. I would like to bring it from the point of view of how, actually, in the Vedic culture, a true Brahmana fights the war inside. And because he fights the war inside with the enemies which are within, the six enemies: lust, anger, greed, pride, envy, illusion. So, because he fights with those enemies, he wins the war inside. And as he wins the war inside, the Kshatriya, who is actually a king of the whole world, he also bows down to such a person. When Alexander was going across India, so he met a sage in a forest, and at that time, uh, he got such. Actually, he was conquering the whole world, but the sage gave him some words of wisdom that you are trying to conquer lands, but that is already conquered by death. You yourself will be dying, one day. So when he heard such words, he became humble before the sage, although being he was conquering the world. Muchukunda also says another beautiful verse. There he says about King Muchukunda is telling Lord Krishna that although I am a king and many subordinate kings bow down to me, I am wherever I go there are big elephants and horses and big armies I am carrying. So and I have conquered so many countries and kingdoms. But when I enter the inner chambers of my own palace, then I am conquered to become a dancing dog in the hands of the woman. So who is the real king is the queen actually. So this is Muchukunda sharing his way of, like he's expressing in humility. Of course, he's a pure devotee of the Lord. But the principle of how a king also understands that actually to conquer the inner enemies is more difficult than the external enemies. They can conquer the whole world, but they cannot conquer their own enemies in the heart. So a Brahmana or a person who is actually a spiritualist, a spiritual warrior, as His Holiness Bhakti Tirth Maharaj would say, spiritual warrior. So he takes the call of taking the inner war, inside war, very strong, very seriously. So it is that is a war also where there will be injuries. There will be people. The enemy may become very powerful. Sometimes these six enemies: lust, anger, pride, envy, illusion, greed. They come together like allies, and they together want to, like six arrows. So there are six enemies together, and they try to, overwhelm the person that, oh, I think I cannot make it then, if this is the case. Even Arjuna asked a question, what if someone has started walking on the spiritual journey and yoga chalati manasa, he actually then gets deviated because of, he could not handle he could not conquer the inner senses. So one can get lost, like a riven cloud, he says. Like a cloud, a big cloud is there, and then some small cloud piece comes out and it just vanishes into thin air. So will he become like that? He left material life where he was trying to enjoy the senses. Now he can't enjoy that also. And he could reach the perfection in spiritual life also. So he's nowhere. Better I could have enjoyed there only. So is that the case of a spiritualist who loses from the path of the perfection in spiritual life? So Krishna at that time, this is in 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he gives a lot of solace to Arjun. First he says, Tata, Tat. He says, oh my dear friend, I am with you, Actually he uses the word Tat to give confidence to Arjun, that don't think that anyone who is walking on the spiritual journey is alone. And in the due course he says actually that such person's journey is never lost. Anything auspicious done in the spiritual journey is never lost. He will either Shuchinam Shrimatam Gehe, he will either be born in a family of Shuchis or the Brahmanas or the spiritualist, and the other is he may be born in a family of rich people, aristocratic family where he can continue. And he can go to the heavenly planet, enjoy, and then come back. And he also says that someone who he has taken a great advancement, he may be born in a family of transcendentalists also. So there he is glorifying he's trying to give an encouragement. Krishna has to time and again give encouragement to the spiritualists, because that is his advertisement. No, Bhagavad Gita is advertisement. Please come to this path. Don't go on here. So he says, Neha Bikramanash Asti Pratyavayana Vidyate Swalpam api asya dharmasya. Please do a little at least. And I'm there for you. So Krishna is giving Sarva Dharman Pratyaja Mam Ekam Sharanam Vaja. Aham Tvam Sarva Papi. Sir, what about if I have done a lot of sin in the past? No, don't worry. Sarva Dharman Pratyaja. Just do one thing. Mam Ekam Sharanam Vaja. Then what I will do? I will take care of the sin. In the book of Dharma, he is not saying that Sarva Papa Parityajya. He is saying Sarva Dharman Parityajya. Give up all other varieties of shelters, but only is my shelter. I will free you from all sin. And in the end, he gives a further stamp. Ma Shucha, do not fear. So like that, spiritualist has fears in his life, which he may have to fight against. So Krishna is also aware of that, and he is always eager to help that spiritualist. So a Brahmana or a spiritualist has to also have this spirit of war, where sportsmanship, where if he gets injured also, sometimes he may get injured, he should know that some injury can come. In that he should not get disheartened. He should not think that how can I make it then? Because life is like that. Sometimes a devotee, he may not have got injured, but he may have seen someone else getting injured in the war also. Because we are fighting war with Kali. So if we see someone else in the army getting injured, sometimes devotees get disheartened. If he could not make it, then what? Then how will I make it? But that is also not actually ideal. Ideally, we should be prayerful for that devotee. We should be learning the lessons from what apparent mistake that devotee may have made. And then we should go on with prayers in the heart, not thinking that we are better than that person, but Mam Evya Prapadyante. If I take shelter of Krishna sincerely, I take shelter of Vaishnavas, I can go on. So one should not get disheartened by any kind of a external situation. When I was once hearing from Mr. Radhanath Maharaj, he was telling that even if there is one devotee, that one devotee should keep giving us inspiration to go on. So it's not like Prabhupada said, it is not a surprise if a person goes away. It is a surprise if a person stays. So that is the spirit that a devotee has while he is seeing that, if someone has left or is injured. And he should also, if someone is injured, he should try to help like an army. Just like here there is an army. We also are an army, and we need a lot of camaraderie where we can help each other, because we will get injured and we will need to be rescued back to the bunker and given some treatment, and then we can come back and fight. So we will help each other. That's how we can actually fight this war. It's Kali, we are fighting with Kali. So this war which we are fighting within, for that Prabhupada gives certain important sections, some purport, some clues about it. In the 36-37 verse, he says, to pursue the transcendental path is more or less to declare war on the illusory energy. Illusory energy. And Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Mama Maya. Mama Maya means it is my energy. So to say that we are declaring against illusory energy of the Lord, that means without the Supreme Lord's shelter, she is as powerful as the Supreme Lord only. So to consider her less powerful is also foolishness. So sometimes Prabhupada said that I'm feeling, I have only one regret, that my devotees are not sufficiently afraid of Maya. They are not have sufficient fear of Maya. So that is also important. Like Duryodhana was estimating, there Prabhupada in the lecture he quotes about it, on that purport, on the verse where Duryodhana is estimating Pandava's strength. In that, when Prabhupada is giving a lecture, so Prabhupada says that similarly we should also estimate the power of the enemy. That is also part of the strategy. If someone is trying to fight a war and does not try to estimate the power of the enemy, then that is not a very intelligent person in the war. So when we are going for a fight, then we should know the power of the enemy. So here, illusory energy is the Supreme Lord's energy, and she is a pure devotee of the Lord. She is fully empowered to do her role. So we should be ready for the that it is a serious one. And consequently, Prabhupada says, consequently, whenever a person tries to escape the clutches of the illusory energy, she tries to defeat the practitioner by various allurements. So, see, the world is called, it is a Maithun Agar. Maithun Agar means it's a there are shackles which are made up of sex desire. Usually in the jail is made up of some shackles, some walls. But this is an amazing jail which is made up of desires. So when the desires shackle us, we go all over the world because of shackles or the desire. So the word Mother Durga is the in charge of the illusory energy. And Durga word comes from actually, of course she is the eternal personality, but Durga. And Durga means fort. And Durga in Sanskrit, actually Durga. Dur means difficult, Ga means to go. So which is difficult to go out from. Because if you see a fort is having a very tall walls also, huge walls. And imagine you're trying to climb the fort. We are trying to climb the fort, but on top is the soldier. So how much odds we have to fight that he can shoot us down, but we have to climb up. So we are just at the mercy. And not only that, after the fort is a moat. A moat is actually a water body all around the fort. And in that water body, there are man-eating crocodiles. So if you somehow try to jump to the other side of the fort also, what you will get is a crocodile waiting for lunchbox. So that's what we get. So what is our hope to cross this fort and the moat and then really make it against the... So there is also the Brahmajyoti, the people Brahman, they merge into the Brahman, Then that is also another problem. Even if we cross the material energy, then we get into the Brahman. So it is a very difficult one. That is why Mama Maya Duratyaya. It is extremely difficult to conquer. But, and imagine all the people in the fort, they are already captured by Maya and they don't even know that they are captured by Maya. They consider her the best friend. They are lying in the laps of Maya. They are sleeping in the lap of Maya. And only some souls wake up and they say, oh, I have to get out. And among them, there are those are called the transcendentalists, Jnanis, Yogis, and Bhaktas. And most of the fellows try to make their own endeavor to run away. Imagine in the whole fort, all the prisoners are sleeping. Only one prisoner is trying to run away. So all the lights will be on him. All the lights will be on that one person. And he may try to run, and finally he will reach the wall. And now he's standing against the wall and light is on him and all the soldiers with the gun on him. What hope he has, So that is why those who are the Jnanis and Yogis, at one point or the other, they get captured. But if they take shelter of the Supreme Lord is Durga's master. And he says, he's my guy now. You leave him. That is the only hope. Otherwise, to cross, sometimes people have this great escapes stories. Like there are stories where people in the British time in India, they were captured in, it was called Kalapani in Andaman Nicobar Islands. So people escaped from the ocean also, across the ocean, So they are called great escapists, But that is escape from actual jail in this world actually. But we are trying to escape even a more difficult jail to cross. So Prabhupada is saying that whenever a person tries to escape the clutches of the illusory energy, she tries to defeat the practitioner by various allurements. So she has a weapon, but what is the weapon? Temptation. She will give a temptation and looks, then the person's desires shackle him again. So the shackles are a very different one than, guns are not required. Actually, their gun is, like Kamadev, one gun. So, or anger. Sometimes people, they are able to conquer lust to some degree. And then they think that now I have been able to conquer lust, I don't feel agitated. So then the ahankar comes, the false ego, the pride comes. I am a very pure person. Then he becomes offensive to others and he falls prey to offenses and becomes angry and he falls back to lust. Because now the taste goes away because he has fallen to offenses. So the Lord withdraws the taste. Then he again becomes filled with lust also. So many people try to conquer, but lust is just the beginning. If lust is so powerful, how powerful is ahankar, which is not even detectable by the intelligence. So to understand sufficiently the power of Maya, to understand her strategies, is very important in this war. And then Prabhupada writes in 331, in the beginning of Krishna consciousness, one may not fully discharge the injunctions of the Lord. But because one is not resentful of this principle and works sincerely without consideration of defeat and hopelessness, he will surely be promoted to the stage of pure Krishna consciousness. Surely be promoted. Like Prabhupada, another purport in 6th chapter, he says, success is guaranteed for a rigid practitioner. But here he is saying, he may not be able to fully discharge also, then how rigid practitioner? So in the beginning, there may be some setbacks also. But a devotee who works sincerely without consideration of defeat and hopelessness. Oh, it won't happen because, see, I am so fallen again and again. This has happened, that has happened. He knows my only shelter. What other shelter I have? This is the only shelter. So when he goes on doing it, then he will be promoted. And the beautiful nectar of instruction, 3rd verse, Utsahat Nishya Dhairya, there Prabhupada writes, devotional service is so pure and perfect that once one has begun it, one is forcibly dragged to ultimate success. Forcibly dragged. Dragged is a very amazing word, Forcibly, first of all, and then dragged also, Now you have started it, now you have to come, So Krishna, like one devotee he felt it's little too much, And this devotional service, so much we have to give up actually. So then he was going away, so he caught a flight to go to another town. So in that flight also, at the airport only he found some book distributors. He said, hey, they are coming here also. Then he ran to the flight and beside him was a devotee also, in the flight also. Then he reached the airport, the other airport also someone caught him. Then he understood that Krishna is not leaving me, better I surrender to him, instead of running away. Another time, actually a devotee, his is Radha Gopinath Prabhu Chapati, and from Chapati he shares a beautiful point. One time one devotee came to him, Prabhuji, I don't want to do devotional service. It's too much, Prabhuji. I'm getting fed up. I don't want. You all have bound me so much. So then Radha Gopinath Prabhu said, please tell what has happened. He said, Prabhuji, I was going on the street. There was some fellow who was just going to knock off my car. I was going to speak some words, but then I realized they are not shlokas, so I should not speak, Then I was going a little ahead and I saw some nice item on the hawker, with the hawker. And I was wanting to eat it, but then I remembered it is not prasadam, Then I walked a little ahead and I saw a movie poster. And I thought, this movie, this is not Hare Krishna movie, I can't do. You all have bound me completely, What is the use, Better I just, I don't want to do Krishna Kaj. So Radha Gopinath Prabhu told him, Prabhu, give me the dust of your lotus feet. Prabhu, you have become Krishna conscious. Prabhu, give me the dust. He said, really, Prabhu? I have become Krishna conscious, huh? How, Prabhu? How have I become Krishna conscious? He said, Prabhu, you're always conscious of what will not please Krishna. So this is what Krishna's desire is. Krishna conscious means to know Krishna's desire and not to do what will not please him. So you are always conscious of Krishna's desires, Prabhu. So when you are saying no to those items, Krishna is very pleased with you. So you love Krishna, you are Krishna conscious, Prabhu. Really, Prabhuji? I am Krishna conscious now? Okay, Prabhuji, then I think, go on, Prabhu. So usually, when one begins the journey as a sadhaka, the senses are strong, the mind is strong, and they will push the living entity that you will not be able to do it. See, what are you doing, Sometimes it will give temptation, sometimes it will make us so much tormented with the temptation that one will say, I think better is release myself to the temptation rather than trying to resist the temptation. But as he says no to the temptation, so it is like mind and senses are impure, but the soul's pure desire to be for Krishna is coming out. against the odds of the mind and senses. So one time I was in Juhu temple, and Shri Shri Radha Rasbihari's darshan was going to get closed. So as the doors were closing, so many devotees were rushing to take last darshan, Hari Bol, And one Mataji was limping actually, and she has a broken leg. She was limping and running towards Radha Rasbihariji. So I was wondering, see, Radha Rasbihariji is watching all his devotees, but where will his eyes specially go? There may be many devotees who may not have any limping going on, but this Mataji is ready to run even with a limping leg. So I was thinking, similarly, actually a pure devotee of the Lord, he is, he is free bird from the lust, anger, pride and illusion. So he can very easily run towards the Lord. But a struggling devotee, because he's struggling and he's sincerely walking the journey and he's trying his best to come closer to the Lord, so the Lord's compassion flows a lot for that living entity. Because the pure devotee is already in love, he can practice naturally. So, like one example, one devotee was giving analogy that that pure devotees are like the birds who fly like this, and sometimes we are all like we fly, we have to struggle to remain up. But the struggle is seen by the Lord with compassion. So that with that we should go on. One devotee in Pune, he is now, I think, 65 years old in the ashram, Brahmachari ashram. So some devotee asked him, Prabhuji, so have you now been able to conquer lust? He said that the war is still on. I have not won the war, but I have not lost the war also. He put his thumb like this, but I have not lost the war also. He was in the sportive spirit. I have not lost the war also. So this is the spirit. I may not have won the war, but I have not lost also. Till the spirit is there to fight back, we have not lost the war. So we should go on. So this is one kind of war which we are fighting, which is the inner war. And then there is another war which is of the mission. The war against Kali which Srila Prabhupada raised. Prabhupada is Senapati Bhakta, right? So we are actually doing a war against Kali. You're all in the frontiers of the war, In the New York City, you're trying to fight back. You're trying to push the army of Kali. Actually, when Prabhupada came, Prabhupada had so many wars to fight. As a Senapati Bhakta, he just, with Kali, so many battles to fight to win this war with Kali. And he really pushed back the army of Kali so far, So he worked very hard. So he also got a lot of injuries. Injuries not in the sense of his personal bhakti life, but injuries in terms of setbacks in the mission life. Like he had planned for a league of devotees. If you study in the Lilamrit, it comes that he made League of Devotees charter, where he will have Prasadam hall, where will be the program hall, everything. He designed everything about the Jhansi League of Devotees place. He even put a board there. But suddenly then the governor's wife had another idea. So, bye-bye. So, Swamiji is out. He had uncooperated God brothers. He tried to serve with them. He didn't think that I have to separately do. But God brothers were not only not cooperative, but rather when he tried to do something also, they were discouraging him for doing that. And he had bad health, his age, his seasickness, heart attack. Yesterday, His Holiness Radhanand Maharaj was describing so elaborately the Jalduta thing. And later on, when he landed also, then he was trying so much. Actually, he was banking upon Lal Bahadur Shastriji, who was the then Prime Minister of India. He was going to come to US soon. So he had thought that one place he had seen, one building, 143 West 72nd Street. Must be here somewhere, in New York. So he had found that place and he was very hopeful because Lal Bahadur Shastriji personally knew Srila Prabhupada. And he had also appreciation for Prabhupada's purpose. But he left the body in a heart attack in Russia, while in a visit to Russia. So his trip never happened. So Prabhupada's plans got upset. Then he thought, I will approach the owner of the building only. His name was A.R. Hartman. He was not having so much heart actually, but yeah, A.R. Hartman. So that person, he said that I can make you the director, one of the board of directors, one of the directors in the board of directors for this social institution, and you own the building, but let me carry on. Anyway, it is empty only. No answer. He wrote to one Padampat Singhania ji, who was a very big, he was a director of a very large JK organization in India. And he had told that I want to make a temple in America. So now Prabhupada said, okay, please send some money for this. But then he said that actually he had an idea to make a Gopuram, big Gopuram for the temple, which will take much more thousands and millions of dollars. But Prabhupada said, just give me 7 lakh and I will work with that. I will make a simple home into a temple, But Padam Singhyanaji was not in that mood. So he did not sanction anything. Then he had another one, Brahmachari, Mukti Brahmachari. He wrote that, Swamiji, I want to come and serve with you. He was a disciple of another godbrother of his. So that devotee wrote to him, but he said that my spiritual master is not allowing me, but I want to come. Prabhupada said, no, why he should? You can ask his permission, then only come. That is etiquette. But then his spiritual master told him that Swamiji's mission is ludicrous, is useless, So he wrote, my spiritual master is saying your mission is ludicrous. So Prabhupada wrote back to him that you may not come because he is not desiring, but my mission and your spiritual master's mission is the same mission, which is of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. How can you call any attempt to make his mission happen as ludicrous? Your idea is ludicrous. So like that Prabhupada, Prabhupada wrote to Sumati Murarji that I want to make a temple for your Bal Gopal, because she was from Pushti Sampradaya, but she also did not take any further steps in that. Like that, Prabhupada fought battles after battles after battles after battles. So, one beautiful offering is there of Srila Bhakti Charu Maharaj in a Vyas Puja. So, in that, Prabhupada, in this fight which is going on at this juncture, after he's in New York and all, so he writes about it. He says, this is the age of Adharma and Kali is the ruler of this age. With the help of sin and his army consisting of soldiers like lust, greed and anger, he has already conquered the entire world. Kali Raj, we say, Kali Raj. So Kali Raj means it's reigning over the world. Wherever we see 4 regulated principles broken, that's actually Kali Raj. So it's all over the world. Practically everyone has become his loyal subject. However, you came like a valiant knight and waged a war against him. Alone you stood against the entire world. Alone you stood against the entire world. Who will ever dare to do such a thing? In Dwapar Yuga, Krishna did that when he stood up against Kamsa. But Balram was with him. You, however, started your war alone against the formidable enemy of Kali. You went, this is very powerful, you went right into the heart of the enemy camp and challenged your enemy to come out and fight. In, Bauri, he went and right into the heart. That is like 4 regulated principles broken wholesale. So you went into the heart of the enemy camp and challenged your enemy to come out and fight. You are the greatest hero of all time, Srila Prabhupada. Right in front of Kali's eyes, you opened the door of his prison. And not only did you rescue his prisoners, but recruited them to form your army to fight against Kali. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, this is the power. Prabhupada recruited the men of Kali, who were whole soul soldiers of Kali, to become his army men to fight back Kali only. Yeah. So, of course, Prabhupada Maharaj speaks something very important after that. He says, when you were here, this fight was a fun for us. Just as a soldier feels confident under an expert general, or a son when he is holding his father's hand, we felt absolutely confident. But now that you have entrusted with us with this responsibility of leading the battle, although we know that you are there with us and guiding us, because you are invisible to our material eyes, we feel afraid. In your apparent absence, Kali's onslaughts have become extremely severe. However, so far we have been able to thwart them all, although sometimes there were many casualties. In the beginning, we were so unprepared that when attacked, we almost lost the battle. However, by your mercy, finally we won. When Kali is defeated, he does not give up. Endlessly, he keeps launching his attacks, and each successive attack becomes stronger than the previous one. But Srila Prabhupada, your army is getting stronger, and your soldiers are becoming more expert. You gave us a secret of how to become strong. You said, your love for me will be shown by how much you cooperate with each other. We are realizing how this is actually the means to defeat Kali. You also warned us that no one will be able to destroy this movement from outside. It is only from within that it can be destroyed. Within means internal conflict among devotees. That is the most deadly attack of Kali. He tries to cause dissension among devotees. Knowing well that he will not be able to defeat the devotees, he uses the devotees to destroy each other. Srila Prabhupada, now we are becoming more aware that whenever there is a cause of dissension, we should immediately see it as an attack of Kali and strengthen our defense by becoming united. So, imagine there is a dissension. So, we are in one side of the army and the Kali is on the other side. But if there is dissension here, Kali will kill both the persons. So, instead of seeing our own army men with a sense of dissension, one should know that we are together, Kali is on the other side. And the fight, the dissension itself is one of the weapons of Kali. So, Srila Prabhupada, we do not want to underestimate our enemy. However, I want to inform you that so far we have been able to withstand all attacks. So now he says, although each successive attack of the enemy is getting more severe, our unity is consequently increasing, as is our love for you. Now he says a sentence which is, shivering. He gives you shiver down the spine. He says, therefore, I pray that these attacks become extremely severe, so that our love for you can blossom fully through our unity. So, to pray that the attack becomes severe is, he is a real warrior actually. Then Kali will admit his total defeat and fall down at your lotus feet, just as he did 5,000 years ago in front of Parikshit Maharaj. That will be the best way to glorify you. So like that Prabhupada, Bhakti Charu Maharaj writes. So Srila Prabhupada fought many, many wars like this, many battles against Kali to drive out. There was also washing case put up against ISKCON. So Prabhupada said, go. The devotees who went, they were not lawyers. He said, just go and take all. Bhagavatam said, this is our evidence that we are not a brainwashing program. And yes, there is no brain only to wash. First, brain should be given actually. So take these books. This is the basis of our movement. It is very authentic. And the judge was given so many books to read. So he said, okay, first let me take out time to read. And he read Prabhupada's books. He read Prabhupada's books. He said, Prabhupada told this devotee, start reading from first canto, first verse onwards. Evidence after evidence. All this is evidence only. And then after the judge had read sufficiently Prabhupada's books, he declared that ISKCON is a bona fide organization practicing the age-old tradition which is coming in the Vedic text. So he gave clean chit to. So one devotee was telling that was a great victory of Prabhupada. Because Prabhupada fought that war with the weapon of Bhagavatam. So Prabhupada had to later fight a battle also for getting Juhu temple for Radha Rasbihari Ji. He promised Radha Rasbihari Ji, I will build your temple. And then this Mr. Nair was very strong in various ways. He was playing games he was doing corruption. But Prabhupada is, like Krishna is, he can cheat the cheaters also. So Prabhupada was fighting against such very corrupt people, but Prabhupada with Krishna on his side, he finally won that battle also for Krishna. So we are fighting the war inside, and there is a war as together we're fighting for the fighting against Kali outside, and both these wars sometimes are in war with each other also. How much to do for internal purification and how much to go out for preaching. So that is also one tug of war. So that balance we should keep in our life. Otherwise, sometimes soldiers in the war, they don't die out of injury, they die out of hunger. Similarly, we should not be hungry while going out. We should have taken in spiritually very nicely, so that when we go out, we are not injured by Maya. When we are doing that, then on an ongoing basis, we keep practicing and we keep preaching, and by the mercy of Prabhupada, we will be empowered to do our humble part in this great mission of Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much. I close here. Any questions, comments? Welcome. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, thanks for your class, Prabhu. You made a lot of very nice points. Something that it reminded me of was during the time where I was Dhanavir Maharaja's personal servant. We were going out to a preaching program, and it was at like a kind of a new age spiritual store where they sell like incense and different like tarot cards and stuff like that. So they had an upstairs loft, and we did a kirtan program. And after the kirtan program, we served out the prasadam, and I was kind of with Dhanavir Maharaj serving him prasadam in a different part of the program. And I remember looking over while I was serving him there was a coffee maker right on the table. And this question just like popped into my head when I was serving him prasadam. I said, Maharaj, I feel like this attitude of like hard-heartedness is growing toward Maya or her energy, and it's making me like not so loving in my preaching endeavor. I feel like it's like shining through to the people that I'm talking to, this hard-heartedness of like rejecting all of these things. So how do I deal with this better? I was asking him, and he said, well, you need to pray to Maya Devi. She's a great servant of Krishna. You're going to have to serve her one way or another. So pray that she allows you to be engaged in the service of her master, so that way you get her blessings, so you become free from the hankerings that she's, the allurements that she's putting your way.
Chai. So. You pray to the enemy only. The enemy will become softened in the heart. This person is so nice. Of course, because you're trying to serve the master. So Mother Durga is also concerned. Actually, she is very concerned that she never gets to be with Krishna. No, Krishna Surya Sama Maya Andikar. Jaha Krishna Taha Nahi Maya Radhikar. So in Simantudip, she is praying to Lord Gauranga, what is this? Wherever you are there, I cannot be there. So his sun is there, darkness cannot be there. So actually in her heart of heart, she is so completely a pure devotee of the Lord. So yes, we can pray to her only. Thank you for that addition. Any other comment? Any question? Okay. So we close there. Thank you very much for your kind presence and allowing me to speak on this transcendental subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.